So, I am my body. This is quite a thought. The piece by my teacher, Barry Magid, that this is a talk about, really, was written in response to a traditional take, actually kind of a new age take on a traditional, often associated with Hindu, but various spiritual traditions. The idea that I am not my body. I am what? So to say I am my body is an affirmation, an assertion. Barry says, I am my body. I am my desires. I am my emotions. I am my thoughts. I am my aspiration to practice. I am a whole person. And actually this little scheme roughly follows the traditional Buddhist division, the 5 skandhas, the 5 aggregates, the 5 heaps, which you add them all up, that's the all, that's the whole person. What else is there beyond this? My body, my desires, my emotions, my thoughts, my aspiration. Or do I think there's something else? Often something else is seen as pure consciousness. What would it be if I took away all of this? What would be left? Surely there'd be something left. As I said, this is a very traditional spiritual idea. It crops up both in Western and Eastern traditions. And in a way, this is something which the guy we know as the Buddha, hundreds of years before the birth of Christ in India, was countering, was taking as his starting point and saying, no, not that. The way this gets developed in Hindu thought is, and again using my usual technique of paraphrasing, cutting things down and generally making a mess of them, Brahman, the all, everything, the spirit that is in every atom of the universe, that was initially one, whole, and become shattered into an infinite number of pieces, effectively. And that the spirit that I contain and you contain is a tiny, tiny piece of that great spirit, which the aim of practice is to reassemble, to become united as one with the all. And the Buddha says, no, not like that. No self, no spirit. The word in Sanskrit is Atman, and the traditional way of putting this in Buddhism is An-Atman, no Atman, no self, no soul, no permanent spirit, no unchanging essence to me or anything else. And so we have the idea of impermanence, constant change, which that implies, emptiness as it gets developed. Yet even within the Buddhist tradition we find this tendency to run after consciousness. Surely if I take away everything, I can get down to a layer of what? Pure awareness. But awareness is only awareness because it's awareness of, because there is an awareness of something. That's what awareness is. It's relationship. That word again, relationship. Awareness is relationship between a sensation, a thought, an emotion, and the awareness of that. So if we strip out that layer, what are we left with? This runs somewhat parallel to the traditional notion of transcendence, that in another time, in another place, obviously in the Christian tradition that's paradise, heaven, all will be well, all will be put right. And of course, we want that. And we read about the Buddha and enlightenment, or the great Zen master, and we think, yeah, I'll have some of that. And so we want that somewhere else, somewhen else. Both of those ideas have no place for the body. Brahman is beyond bodily experience. The idea of an abstracted consciousness is beyond bodily experience. Traditionally within Christianity, the body is a problem, its desires, its wants, its frailty. So is the body a negative, a weakness? If we see images of monks sitting implacably for hours, days, all night, mastery of the body, mastery of breath, mastery of my thoughts, control, control, control. Sounds quite attractive. Curiously, this has a parallel in our mainstream non-spiritual Western thought, tradition of philosophy, science, economics, the rest of it. We've talked before about the idea of mastery, the control of nature, the control of everything natural within us. That I am my intention, I am my reason, I am my understanding. I, the subject, set out to control the object, the other. I place myself at the centre. We often talk about this in the sense of the view from nowhere. We're trying to construct a way of understanding and being in the world which is so objective, so universal, and thereby, by definition, has no place for emotion, no place for feeling, really no place for this body. And so to say, I am my body, actually begins to sound quite radical. What would we mean by that? Because well, this body, it's vulnerable. It's mortal for a start. It fails. It doesn't do what I want it to. And yet, it's also the source of all my experiencing. Without this body, no beauty. Without this body, no sense of the touch of another, or the breath of wind. Without this body, what? Generally, our attitudes towards my body, your body, are quite understandably subject to a bit of dissociation. Quite a lot of what we feel isn't necessarily that pleasant. Quite a lot of what we feel is, frankly, just what we felt before. It's irrelevant. It's, in scientific terms, redundant information. Why would I pay attention? Why would I pay attention to every sensation in my body? And as I say, this idea of the regime of mastery tells us which the body is, well, the body is natural. It's an instrument. It's there to serve us. It's a means to my intentions, end. If I don't like it, I can change it. And that's a fantasy which is incrementally becoming more of a reality, whether that's plastic surgery or cryogenics. We're encouraged to think of our bodies quantitatively. So that's as a set of characteristics and parameters. And of course it's really good to try and make sure I get my 5 or 8 portions of fruit and veg a day. It's a good idea to try and do several sessions of exercise a week. No harm in working on your personal best. And yet, if all I'm ending up with is a set of numbers, an idea of performance, what's that to do with this body, my body? Is my body mine in the same way that my car is, or this sweater is? Surely it's different. So I'd say I am my body. I identify as this body, and these thoughts, and these feelings, and this aspiration. That's saying quite something. Not a means to an end which is elsewhere, whether that's getting to heaven or becoming enlightened or sitting under a waterfall for 48 hours or, wherever I think the good place, the good thing is. Because this body, I am this body, here, now, always, each moment. Mortal, vulnerable, suffering in that sense. Now, one of the things which Zen teachers often say, not necessarily in so many words, but, we should take advantage of our suffering. Our suffering is a blessed teacher. And you go, yeah, I really get that. It's true, but, why would I want to know that? Joko Beck's genius, and I'll use that word, used it before, I use it again. Joko Beck's genius was to note, well, it's the same word actually, suffering. Sanskrit, dukkha. But dukkha doesn't mean, ow! It's to do with everything we're not easy with. Everything that's uncomfortable, awkward. And life is often awkward. In each moment we feel resistance. Resistance to the discomfort in my shoulder. Resistance to remembering the thing I forgot to do. Resistance to thinking about that awkward conversation I've got to have tomorrow or whenever. Resistance to the fact that I don't seem to be able to settle this evening. Resistance, or that it's boring, or that resistance. That's what our lives are. Jacob Beck's genius was to understand that this is reality. This is reality meeting us in each moment, every moment. Every moment as good as every other moment. Every moment potentially that teacher. Resistance where we are the absolute reality, whatever we want to call it. But we do that by our experiencing the feel of wool on my skin, the warmth from the lights, a slight hum from the computer, the pressure on my knee, slight numbness in my foot. This is all resistance. This is all this present moment. This is all life. This is all reality in each moment. And we can say experiencing, and we can say impermanence, and we can say dukkha, and we can say anything else. And at one level, they're just words. They're useful words. But at another level, they're just words. They need to become embodied words. They need to become living words. And we do that just through sitting, through our walking, through actual experiencing. Experiencing the impermanence. Whether that shows up as joy or sadness or boredom or pain or whatever. And there's a sense, and in one sense there's no harm in it at all, that we come to the cushion looking for equanimity, balance. But that's almost, I've even used the word sanitised view of this moment. No past, no future, just this moment. What's wrong in this moment? Nothing. Just sat here. Fine, lovely. Or, we see that's almost a fortress against my life. Or, this moment, I am my body. Aging, breaking down, dying as we speak. Living, joyfully trying to communicate with you. Loving, experiencing, seeing beauty. I am my desires, my emotions, my thoughts, my aspiration. All of this. This moment. I am my body. The sound of the bell is an invitation to my body. The sharp transients make me literally sit up, listen, pay attention, and then that slow decay, refining the attention, ever more subtle, and the sounds of the world come up behind it. Listen. and then really allowing myself to resonate with the bell. Listening as it tails off into silence and relaxing into it. So we'll begin just by bringing attention to the most underappreciated part of my anatomy, whatever I'm sat on. Whether I'm sat on a cushion or a stool or a chair. This is the foundation of everything. So I just feel into my sitting bones. Feel the compression of my flesh. Can I feel the resistance of the bone? Something solid just stopping me squishing everywhere. Feel the texture of the fabric. Feel the way this specific pattern of resistance is related to the cushion or the chair. Its degree of resistance, what it's made of. This is all in its way relationship, quite specific. It's about this sensation, right here, right now. Then I can take my attention right the way down to my big toe. I can even wiggle it a little, just to reassure myself I've actually made that connection. How does it feel? Can I feel my sock, the texture of wool or cotton or nylon? Am I wearing slippers or shoes or which part of my foot is touching the ground or the mat or whatever? Exactly. Where do I feel that? How do I experience that pressure? Is it numbing? I've been sat here a little while now. Or is it fizzing with energy? Is it warm or is it cool? How does it feel as fabric pressing into my skin? Then how does my top of my foot feel in relationship to the instep? How does that feel in relation to my heel? I know these are very different qualities of skin, and they have very different feelings all the time. Even with something like my foot, there's a wealth of experiencing, of sensation just in this moment. How do my toenails feel? There's no feeling in my toenails, and yet I feel them. Whether they're a bit on the long side, cut slightly too short, sticking in somewhere. This is all just my body, this experiencing. Okay, let's move to something we normally feel as being more important and more significant. My breath. Let's begin by just noticing, breathing in and breathing out. We never try and control this breath, we just let it be whatever it is. It might be fast, might be slow, might be scratchy or smooth, doesn't matter, we just let this breath be what it is. Some of the very oldest suttas are just about experiencing this breath as it is. So actually, let's just take my attention to the tip of my nose, assuming I'm breathing through my nose, my lips if I'm breathing through my mouth. Just feel how the air feels around this edge of my nostrils, just as I'm breathing in and breathing out. What's the actual experiencing there? Warm, cool, pressure. How's the in-breath different from the out-breath? Do my two nostrils feel roughly the same, or is one kind of constricted, blocked? These aren't lofty spiritual thoughts. They're the experiencing that is the real kind of bedrock of awareness, the bedrock of our practice. Nothing special, nothing to make a fuss about, nothing to get excited about whether I'm doing well or doing it badly. But what worlds of sensation, what worlds of experiencing in this kind of minutiae. Follow the air down into my chest on an in-breath. Just begin to explore those sensations. How does the air feel as it enters my lungs? Is it warm or cool, smooth, or is there resistance there? Any feeling of constriction or burning sensation? Whereabouts am I feeling that? I can move my awareness around top of my chest, around my rib cage. If I pay attention, I can definitely feel the movement of my shirt across my chest as my muscles are pulling my ribs apart, opening up my chest, coming together again, forcing the air out. That feeling, obviously I can feel the whole, if I pay attention, the whole of the surface of my skin. Where fabric's touching it, where fabric isn't touching it. Exactly how that does feel. But can I feel anything deeper in the muscles, movement within the chest? This is the part of ourself which carries so much feeling, physical feeling, emotion. My chest is where my speech begins. And in relation to this, I can just, let's pay a little bit of awareness to my throat. How does my throat feel? How do the muscles feel around there? How do the muscles around the back of my neck feel? Holding on this ridiculously heavy bone case with this squishy brain inside. No wonder they ache a bit, get sore a bit, get a bit tense. But again, my neck, my thoughts, my emotions, they have their effect. I hold them there. I hold them across my shoulders. Just take my awareness, lightly brush it out across my shoulders, backs of my shoulders and the shoulder blades. Allow them just to move very gently. Just feel whatever there is to feel there, these flat plates of bone, muscles sitting, some of them tense, some of them relaxed. Kinds of funny business going on. I don't know what you've been doing today. It all has its effect. Our activity, our feelings, our emotions, our thoughts, they're all contributing here. Let's get back to the breath for a minute. Again, just come back to this rhythmical opening and closing of the chest. I can drop my attention down to my belly, my abdomen. There's the big muscle down there, the diaphragm, pulls air in, pushes air out. Lower I keep my attention there, the more grounded I'll probably feel. We can talk about, rather than getting off my head, getting out of my head. And one of the most effective ways of doing that is simply to lower my awareness in my body. There are some traditional breathing practices around the Dantian, this point around the solar plexus. But we're not trying to control at all, we're just feeling, observing. My breath is so expressive of itself, its speed, its depth, its fluidity, any sounds I make, are so intimately related to how I feel, literally, my emotions, my thoughts. In the West, we still have this metaphor of the heart as the seat of emotion. But traditionally in India, China, Japan, whether it's Chitta or Shen, this connection between the emotional mind and the heart is recognized very strongly. Heart-mind, emotion-mind, same word. And these feelings of sends my heart aflutter, my heart was racing, my heart was broken. These are all very real physical feelings behind the kind of cliched words. We have to recognize that. Now I've been breathing for a while. Hopefully I can begin to notice the whole of my body expanding, contracting, shoulder blades moving, sides of my body moving, musculature in my back working with each breath, this unfolding cycle, this string of breaths, each one the same, each one unique. And I might just be able to feel my heartbeat if I'm paying attention underneath that. And how does that feel? And now that I'm beginning to really pay attention to me, this body which is me, I can feel the energy in my hands, my fingers, the whole of this body, my body, me. can be a powerful practice in itself, just bringing this awareness to the whole body or individual aspects of it. We can make a thing out of this. We can make this the aim of our practice. But really what I'm doing, I'm just offering some respect for me, some self-respect. This body as it is in this moment, poised between past and future, in this moment, this body. I am this body. I am my body. I am my body, a living, breathing body, with all its physical sensations of comfort and discomfort, relaxation and tension, changing each moment with each inhalation and exhalation, dependent each moment on the air I breathe and the environment which sustains my life. I am my desires, my appetites, my needs for love and attachment, my ambitions and my ideals. In each moment I may experience satisfaction or lack, fullness or emptiness, learning gradually to distinguish my needs from my wants, the conditions for my flourishing from the fleeting effects of gratification. I am my emotions, my love and my anger, my sadness and my joy, my calmness and anxiety, moment after moment, reflecting my inescapable dependence on others and my vulnerability to the vicissitudes of their attention. I am my thoughts, which pass through my awareness moment after moment, like clouds through the sky, sometimes peacefully, sometimes not. Whatever their content, I can recognize them as thoughts, part of the ongoing flow of my consciousness, a necessary part of what feels like me, to be neither banished nor suppressed, but acknowledged in their passing. I am my intention to practice the values and ideals of the Buddha way, which are not of my own creation, but are passed down to me through generations of students and teachers on whom I depend for the forms and discipline and understanding that makes practice possible. I am simultaneously the product of that long tradition, its manifestation in the present, and its shaper for the future. I am a whole person whose body, desires, emotions, thoughts, intentions and awareness are all inseparable from my Buddha nature, all continually manifesting their inherent interdependence, impermanence and perfection, just as they are, right here and right now.